Hello, my garden friends. This is Jersey Shore Lisa of MyNJGarden.com, and I am reclaiming my first permaculture garden. This is the first time I have looked into the backyard of this garden in years. So I'm a little choked up about what's been happening back here. But here we are, and I'm going to walk through it with you and see what's become of some of the plants that I've put in and how things matured, and when left to their own devices in permanent agriculture, what's still coming up and still productive after 5 years of neglect, which is what this yard has been facing. You can see that the grass is kind of overgrown and non-existent. This was inhabited by renters. It was not a priority for them to manage the outdoors, quite obviously. So let's see what we have. This was my first hugelkultur bed, and so there are logs buried under this space, and this looks really familiar, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head, and I'm very interested, so I'm gonna have to use iNaturalist and see if I can identify that plant. I don't know what it is. There are asparagus coming up here. I did plant those. So that's good to see that they are still coming up. I do see more. That looks like another elderberry that's coming up. There's some comfrey down there. I don't know what that is actually. There's another redbud seedling. More elderberry. I have lots of elderberry to pull and transplant. We can see the shed is still in pretty halfway decent shape actually. This looks like another Nanking cherry that's sprung up over here. There are still some hostas back in this little garden bed and some comfrey over here. This was a naturalized area, and still is, of lily of the valley. And this is a red bud that is being taken over by ivy. It's just gonna kill the thing. So I need to do something about that. That was where a pawpaw was 5 years ago. Why is there still a significant hole there? That's so weird. There's purple leaf loosestrife in the back behind that mugwort, and some Siberian iris back there. I also see a sassafras coming over the fence. I'm pretty sure that's a cherry tree in the back corner, but I think it's coming from the other yard. That wasn't one that I planted. This is an Asian pear, a grafted Asian pear tree. And I had planted it for my dad because he loved Asian pears. And it's still here. It's not doing great, but I see flowers on there. Let's see. What else? There's comfrey. Another redbud. Blackberries in the back, yes. And there should be, I think I see some horseradish down at ground level. I don't think that the renters knew what it was. Here's another elderberry that sprung up and took over. I am pretty positive that the wildlife loves this yard. This is a birdie's paradise. hello, as a matter of fact. There you are, bird, right there, sitting on a redbud. Probably very productive of a nest that's quite nearby. Here's another redbud. Lots of comfrey coming up back there amongst the blackberries. And here is another native black cherry tree that I'm sure the birds brought with them. That looks like it's probably a rose, a rugosa rose that's spread over here. Some kind of weedy rose. Or more blackberry. But the ones that I had planted, the first kind I had planted had thorns, and then I replaced them with thornless ones. But it looks like the thorny ones came back. Back there, it looks like a very weird sumac has come up, and there's only leaves on the top of it, and that's very strange. These were raised beds. You can still see the edges of where the wood was. So my paths between the raised beds are consumed by mugwort and blackberries. And there used to be annual vegetables that would grow throughout these beds. That looks like it's fennel. And more comfrey. Lots of red buds. Probably have ticks all over me. Let's see. This is hardy Ken's Red kiwi. And it's a disaster because it has spread all over. It totally outgrew this support, which was my old greenhouse frame, and it's grown over the apple trees that are back here. So there are 3 apples back here. There's a Gala and a Honeycrisp and a Granny Smith, and they are overtaken completely by these kiwi vines. So I really need to get them out of here. I hope there aren't too many birds' nests in there. This is a tremendous hazelnut. It's an American filbert. And boy, it grew like crazy back here. This is a fairly shady spot in the yard, so I'm glad to see that it got to be this minimum 15, 18 foot multi-stemmed beautiful shrub. And I wonder if there are any nuts on here. I think the neighbor had a filbert, but it might be too far away because American hazelnuts need to be wind pollinated. I don't see any nuts on this tree, but it's exciting that it's here. More lily of the valley is back here, and then in that back corner there's a rhododendron, and I'm not sure what that is, but it's coming over from the neighbor's yard. Lots of vinca vine coming through. There's another hosta back there. I believe there's some coral bells underneath all that too that may have made it. So this is the backyard of my first permaculture garden. There's so much work to do, but here we are, and we're gonna get down and get this project going, and hopefully within the next few weeks I'll be able to take new videos with some major changes, and I'll let you know if there's anything noteworthy that happens along the way. Thanks so much for joining me. Jersey Shore Lisa from MyNJGarden.com. and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.